Today we're doing the wrap up for my May reading theme, which I kind of failed a little bit. I picked a lot of books. I didn't read a lot of them. My theme was springtime feels, and I used the word feels because I was going off the covers. The covers that looked like springtime. I only read 2.5, but let's get into it. So, the first book that I read was We Can't Keep Meeting Like This by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which I did not finish, unfortunately. I read about half of it. I didn't really like it, unfortunately. I just did not connect with the characters, and I thought it was boring. I'm really sorry. I really enjoyed the first little chunk of it, but it was just, I don't know, and there were a few scenes that I liked, but overall I wasn't interested at all, and I just felt there was also a lot of weird stuff in it, that didn't make any sense. So basically what this story is about is a girl who had this huge crush on this guy, and she confessed her crush to him at the end of high school in an email, and then he went away to university and didn't reply to the email. And now they keep seeing each other throughout summer a year later because both of their parents work at wedding venues, and so they're basically working together at weddings all summer. And then they like each other. But there was a lot about the weddings. And not even things that progress the story or built on the characters, because they were about the different people at the weddings were for, and problems that happened that were not interesting to me. I don't know these people, and we're not going to see them again after this wedding is over. And there was one thing that I thought was really strange, and I know this scene was created in order for these two characters to need to come together, but for one, it didn't need to happen. The scene that was created for these characters to come together didn't actually make them come together, and it was glossed over when it actually happened, and the scene didn't need to be there in order for the interaction that they had later to happen. And it didn't make any sense. The thing that happened would not have happened in real life, and it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. I don't want to say exactly what it was in case, I don't know, it's spoilery for people, but So anyway, I looked past that because I didn't think the writing was bad. I just wasn't a fan of the storytelling, I guess. So I made it about halfway through and I was not into it, and so I stopped reading it. And for anyone who liked this book, I'm really sorry if you're sad that I didn't like it, but it was not for me, unfortunately. So I didn't rate this one or anything because I didn't finish it. That's not fair. The next book that I read was Rain by Amanda Sun, which is the sequel to Ink, which is about a girl who moves to Japan and gets a crush on a boy, obviously, but turns out he has this magical ability to make his drawings come to life. And there's a whole bunch of dramatic stuff surrounding it. And I can't really say what this one is about because it'll give stuff away from the first one, but I really enjoyed it. I really like the atmosphere. I really like the setting and everything. I also really, really loved the guy in it, Tomo. I thought he was super cute and adorable, and I loved them together. I mean, there were some questionable things that the main character did that I wasn't a fan of, and I was like, really? You're gonna be like that? But overall, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm excited to read the third one. And the last book that I read was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which is about a girl who just moves to New York, and she meets this super cool girl on the subway who she has this huge crush on, but turns out the girl on the subway is stuck on the subway, and she's from the 70s. She did some weird time travel thing, and she can't get off the subway. And so it's about them getting to know each other and falling for each other, and also trying to figure out how she can get back to her own time or stay in this time and be able to get off the subway. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. For a big chunk of it, I did think it was going to be 5 stars because the first 2 times that I sat down to read it, I read almost 100 pages each time. It was so easy to read without even thinking about the fact that I was reading. It was so good. The writing was so quirky and and airy and light and funny, and it was interesting, and it was just so easy to just be there with the character and not feel like you're reading. And I really enjoyed it, and I tabbed a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was funny, and it made me laugh out loud, and it was swoony. It was so good. But about like a little bit, maybe 3/4 of the way through, maybe a little bit less, it did start to slow down, and I wasn't as into it when I was reading it. And then I did think that the end dragged out a lot, and it wasn't really necessary to have all the stuff happen that happened at the end. I feel like it could have ended sooner and probably been a little bit stronger. At least for me, I have a very different opinion on endings than I think most people do. So it did kind of like slow down a little bit towards the end, and it did take me a little bit longer to finish it than it did take me to start it. But I did really enjoy it, and I'm so glad that I read this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I would love to read anything else by this author. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue when that came out, and I just think it was great. I would definitely read more from this author. Absolutely. That's it. That's all I read in May. Okay, bye. Have a good day.